Alright guys, congratulations, you're almost through with Unit 9, and we are going out with a bang because the law of cosines is a doozy. But I know you can handle it, you have a good teacher, and you're well prepared. But I would personally use law of cosines as a last resort. Okay, so just like the law of sines, the law of cosines can be used to find the lengths and angle measurements of any triangle, but the only time that you should use it is if you're only given one angle and three sides. So you use it when you have one angle and three sides. Okay, if you are given two angles and two sides, definitely use law of sines because it's much easier. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in, and I'm going to use the side length of C and the angle C as part of my formula. Okay, so C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times cosine of C is the formula, and it's one that you should memorize, okay, because it's not on your reference sheet. It looks really bad, but I promise it's pretty simple to use, right? C is always going to be the side length that you're looking for, and then cosine of angle C is going to be the one angle that you're given. Okay, so let's go ahead and start, right? X squared equals 7 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 7 times 12 times cosine of 65. Okay, and we can solve this. We have 7 squared plus 12 squared equals 193. So x squared equals 193 minus whatever this product is, right? So let's go ahead and do it one step at a time. 2 times 7 times 12 is 168, cosine of 65. Okay, and so when you're doing this, make sure you keep this in parentheses, right, because this is a product, 168 times the cosine of 65, and PEMDAS exists, right, and we have to multiply before we subtract. Okay, so we're going to do the whole thing that we can on the calculator. 193 minus parentheses 168 times cosine of 65 to get 70.99986. Okay, so we'll just call this 71 on our paper, but you guys know we don't round until the very end. Okay, so how do you undo squared? We square root. So the square root of 71 will give us x. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the square root button now because I don't want to round in any intermediate steps. So that would be about 8.4. And what do you guys think? Is 8.4 a reasonable answer? Sure, it seems like it's a good guess for that scenario. Okay, hopefully you thought that wasn't too bad, because we're going to do it 4 more times. Okay, so we are given our side length x and the angle across from it, right? So plugging it into the formula, x squared equals a squared plus b squared, 25 squared plus 20 squared minus 2 times 25 times 20 times cosine of 108. Okay, so 25 squared plus 20 squared. I think I did something wrong. 25 squared plus 20 squared is 1025 minus 2 times 25 times 20 is 1000 times cosine of 108. Okay, So x squared equals that. Now let's plug it into the calculator. 1025 minus parentheses 1000 times cosine of 108. 108 cosine and parentheses equals 2025. Okay, and we will take the square root. Right, you guys remember how to get rid of squared is to take the square root, and hopefully this gives us a reasonable number. 45. Okay, so this is not right. Right? I guess we did something wrong, and I bet it was in our calculations in step 2, this step right here. Right? And so I know that it cannot be 45 because 20 plus 25 is 45, and I know that the two smaller sides need to add up to something larger than the longest side. Right? So 45 is the end of that range. So I'm going to erase this and see where I messed up. Okay, so 1025 minus 1000 times cosine of 108 okay, 1334. So I think that's something new. I don't know what I did wrong before, so x squared, 1334. Okay, and we'll take the square root of both sides to get x equals, so the square root 36.5. Okay, so that's a reasonable answer. Alright, so x equals 36.5. That's one that I do feel comfortable with. And thanks for bearing with me, guys. Okay, number 3. Alright, we're looking for side length x and given angle 34, which is across from x. Plugging it into the formula. X squared equals 17 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 17 times 13 times cosine of 34. Okay. 17 squared, oops, wrong button. 17 squared plus 13 squared equals 458 minus 2 times 17 times 13 is 442 times cosine of 34. Okay. X squared equals 458 minus 442 times cosine of 34. So 91.565, and we square root. Okay, so square root of 91 is about 9.6. Okay, so x equals 9.6. Go ahead and see if that seems like a reasonable answer, and I think it does. Okay, so number 4 and 5 are just a tiny bit more difficult because they give us the 3 side lengths, but not the angle measure, right? So this time we're going to have to find the angle measure, and it's a little bit more like an equation than just plugging numbers into the calculator. Okay, but I have faith in you. We've got this. We are going to set it up so that 7 squared equals 11 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 11 times 12 times cosine of x. Okay, so I know 7 squared is 49, 11 squared plus 12 squared equals 265. And 2 times 11 times 12 is 264 times cosine of x. Okay, so this one we're solving like an equation, right? Remember that this is all multiplication, right? So we can't do anything with that yet, right? So imagine if this was 49 equals 265 minus 5x, right? What would we get rid of first? We would subtract 265 on both sides. Okay, so I'm left with this negative 264 times cosine of x. And now I'm going to have a negative number, so let's see. 49 minus 265 is negative 216. And to get rid of this multiplication happening, we divide by negative 264. Okay, so I'm left with cosine of x equals negative 216 divided by 264, and it's negative. Is this 0.81 repeating? Okay, so how do we separate x from cosine? Do you remember? X equals inverse cosine of 0.81 repeating. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the inverse cosine button. So second cosine, and that gives me x is 35.1. degrees. 35.1 degrees seems like a reasonable degree. Okay, we'll do one more and then you're free of Unit 9. Okay, so we have 35 squared, right? That's the outside one, equals 24 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 24 times 16 times cosine of x. Okay, bigger numbers, but we got this. 35 squared, 1,225. 24 squared plus 16 squared is 832. Two times 24 times 16, 768 times cosine of x. And we solve it like an equation, right? So the first thing it's going to do is subtract the 832. (1,225) minus 832 is 393 minus equals negative 768 times cosine of x. We'll divide by negative 768. So cosine of x equals 393 divided by negative 768, negative 0.511. And x equals the inverse cosine of negative 0.511. So I'm just going to take this button and hit inverse cosine, and we get 120.8 degrees. 120.8 degrees. It does look obtuse. It's across from 35, which is the longest side, so I think that's a good guess. Alright guys, great job. Please practice this on your own. It's good for you, and don't give up, because that was probably the hardest thing that you'll have to do this whole course. Okay? Have a great day. Bye.